which is the county executive at $389,000. Now, I will break in here and say that we're all aware of the fact that we moved $35,000 in judgments and claims, $267,000 in Office for the Aging, $113,600 in conservation programs, and $93,000 in county extension service programs over for a total of about $508,000, almost $509,000 to the executive's budget. That said, knowing he inherited $500,000 of our some of the items we transferred out of our budget, obviously that 389, you know, suggests that there's been some cuts in the executive's budget, and I'd like you to get into some detail on those, Matt.
You still need to balance it. You still need to balance it.
Well, the biggest thing was, you know, when I looked at other departments and we realized that, and talked with Sean, that we were going to have to make some personnel cuts this year, I thought the best thing to do would be to take a cut in my budget. That way I can really look at these other folks that are at it and say, I'm not asking you to do anything we're not doing. So really the big, losing the labor management position is something I believe having that position is incredibly important. I argued for it here, I'm sure some of you remember that. I still think it's important, but that's the big cut in my budget, is that position. And you know, in talking with personnel strategy and how we can continue to have a consistent labor practices and working with the union on different issues and trying to resolve issues before they become issues. But that's the big cut in my budget.
Probably another, if you do the math, 506 minus 389, we're talking about 110,000. Anything else you can think of there, Matt, off the top of your head?
No, that's the big one.
Legislator Kelly.
So when Corey was here, I missed that meeting.
Corey?
Nellis from Soil and Water, and he was, I assume he explained to us about new funding through the state and how if there's a reduction in county appropriations, he loses a percentage. Did we talk with Corey and he was like, did we determine how much money we're losing by cutting him that 10,000?
No, I haven't had a chance to talk to him about this.
And then also cooperative extension, how did we determine that amount to cut?
That was, just looking at what the previous, what we've given them previously, and you know, given that we give them office space, that was why, you know, we kept Office for the Aging flat, even though they requested an increase in their budget, and so we were, you know, just trying to pull some funding from, you know, where we could. You know, I think the funding level still shows a commitment to both of those agencies, but just pulled back a little bit.
Well, last year,
I have not had discussions with them yet.
last year, cooperative extension was at 93. The year before was 100,000.
Yeah, but I also remember conversations in here where they came in, we gave them more than they even asked for.
That was the first year,
Yeah.
100,000.
Yeah. So, you know,
Legislator Sweet.
This is not really on the executive's portion of the budget, it's a general question. As we're going through this process, it's great to have adopted 2016, adopted 2017. We have no actuals. And I know there's only so much space on these pages.
Right.
They make bigger paper. Without actuals, how can we make an educated decision?
To see where, but actuals would be year-to-date actuals.
I'm not saying for 17, but maybe 15 and 16, so you can have a history of what we spent, or what what the cooperative extension used, or
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Because without that information,
That's not a problem. I can gladly get you a spreadsheet, but I just want to make you aware in a case where you're talking like outside agencies. they have a contract.
Right.
They're gonna get the whole shop no matter what.
Right, and not so much in part
Better than
extension,
not.
but through all the other departments,
Right.
we'll be able to see, you know, they budgeted 10,000, but they only used 1,000. You know, and sometimes it's little amounts, and sometimes it's bigger amounts. It really does make a difference in figuring out the budget, because the budget is really a big guessing game.
Sure is.
We appreciate it.
We can get that for you, no problem.
Thank you.
Let's let it go.
The only reason I singled out those two is and if OFA were reduced, I would do the same thing, because I know that these supporting service agencies use up the monies that we provide them and leverage more dollars. And I just would hate to see services that are valuable in the community at pennies on the dollar compared to the overall budget disappear.
Yeah, and we actually had a conversation with Office for the Aging about that, because, you know, we had some office space discussions, and I don't know if this would work for anyone else, but they did indicate that, you know, if they were given office space, they could use the office space as a max. So I don't know if Cornell is doing that. So, okay.
But the way, and the only reason I know the way their funding mechanism works is the state and federal monies that are available, it's a 2-year lag. So this hit is going to hurt them a little bit this year, but they're really going to feel the pinch 2 years from now from a, you know, $20,000 cut.
Gotcha. And I would also, you know, part of the other thought process is, you know, we are, not so much for soil and water, but for Cornell, we are giving office space, we are doing 75,000. Our neighbors to the north are not giving office space and are not doing anything. So I know it's a cut and I know it stinks, but I still think there's a pretty strong commitment.
It's one of the best deals around. Is that what you're trying to say?
Well, relatively speaking, I think, it cut stinks, but we still are supporting the agency, and that's, but,
Do our neighbors to the north have a name?
The F word.
All right.
Positive.
yeah, full credit on it.
All right, any other questions on the county exec's budget? Hearing none, we'll move to social services, a net increase of $270,000. And, you know, look, that would be Department 18 in your, and quite a few pages here. We're going to start on page 27 for that. Now, a couple of things, you know, if you look at the revenues are down about $316,000. I detected two sources of that myself yesterday inspecting these line items. Line 3610 is down $170,000. That's Social Services Administration. And line 4609 is down $500,000. So you got two revenue sources there, down $670,000, offset by a couple of other small increases in other revenue categories. But do we have any explanation as to why those two large reductions in those revenue sources?
All right, I'm going to do some comparison here. We'll have to jump back and forth. The revenue for the 4609 family assistance revenue reduced by $500,000. If you look to the corresponding appropriation line, which is line 6109, that had a reduction of $600,000.
Okay.
So that's kind of on that wash.
Okay, and why did it happen that way?
That's based on the number of cases that they have in DSS.
So
Under the family assistance program.
but so there's less of a volume of them expected in
Less of a volume
18
in that particular program.
in that program. And any reason why you're aware of that we or should we ask?
I believe,
I would say just generally, we've had a number of meetings with DSS related to their budget, and we've gone back and forth a number of times. If there's any budget within the total budget that needs, I think, a thorough review with both the legislature and still us, I would say DSS, because we've gotten some of the answers, but I think, they should be top on the list as far as answering some of these questions, because it's confusing to say the least, but at the same time, just some basic questions. And Sean and I could, with that administration line, how is that line going down when some of the admin expenses are going up? I think we still don't have a good answer to that question after a number of meetings. So there are going to be there's some areas here where we're fuzzy on some of the details.
That's okay.
But I think we need to really, I would like to be a part of that as well, working through some of these, especially with the raise the age policy initiative coming through. There's a lot of work to be done here. I think, making them top on the list would be a good idea.
I think it was going to be a foregone conclusion. They were going to be one of our invitees, along with a few others here, but I mean, that's all I had in social services. Obviously because their appropriations are down as well. So, I mean, that was a positive sign. What seemed to affect their budget most was a reduction in certain revenue line items. Any other questions on this one?
Does the state take over Medicaid now?
No such luck, huh? All right, the fifth, and in my review, final largest net increase is public health. And I noticed that the bulk of the increase in the appropriations are up about 102,000, is a county coordinator of children's services, and that's up $124,000. I mean, this has to do with the consolidation of the two departments, public health and mental health.
This has the education of physically handicapped children. And that's a numbers-driven thing. Actually, they did request even a larger, we did cut that back, hoping for the best. They actually asked for about 300. We didn't cut them back about 150. So that has to do with the placement and education of physically handicapped children, the transportation of those.
And
Valuable service.
That is the state mandates that the school district choose where these children are sent, and the county pays for it. So, or pays a majority share. So, number one, we don't have any access to the decision-making process, and it's very tough to guess how many kids are going to be in the program each and every year. And then thirdly, the cost of this program is increasing. My understanding is that there's been some requests for increasing the per hour and some of the rates, and Sarah held the line on those and said no increases in rates. But it's one of those frustrating budget lines that you have very little control over, and costs keep
Going up.
rising faster than.
It's one of the mandated programs, but the state only funds about 50%.
Which leads back to
Transportation.
It's the transportation, it's the tuition.
tuition. That's up 121, it looks like, the tuition itself. All right, any other questions on public health? All right, hearing none, I'd like to, and certainly I'm not looking to avoid any other line items that anybody wants to talk about. I just want to get through, my general pattern here, and then if anybody wants to talk about any other area, a lot of the year-over-year changes are minuscule, to be honest with you, but certainly I'm not trying to marginalize or minimize any of them, but just trying to concentrate on the big numbers for to get ourselves going here. Now, the largest net decrease is the county treasurer, which is down about 601,000, and I guess Sean, be interested, oh, yes, I'm sorry.
Before we go to the increases, I just have one question on one part.
Absolutely.
With the increase of the minimum age and all that, is Lucille comfortable with her numbers and changes?
So Lucille requested 2 items in her budget this year. One was a part-time records management clerk, which solves an issue that they have. Also, it has to do with their succession plan. That I kept in the budget. She did ask for a full-time probation officer as part of the raise the age. I did not include that in there because I don't know what any reimbursement or funding is going to be associated with it. There were no new positions in this budget that weren't reimbursed. So I left that out, and I'm sure she's going to come in and explain how much she needs it. It might be something we could do mid-year next year, but that's another tough one.
When does it take effect?
It's not in January, as far as I know. There's a lot of confusion out there related to the details of how it's going to go. I don't want to give you a wrong answer on that, but that is one that she's going to bring up.
So- Thank you.
Just another item that I just want to make sure I make you aware of that's in here, and it's been a topic of discussion back and forth throughout the years. We did include the County Economic Development Office as the TPA, Tourism Promotion Agent, for the county. This year it's the Chamber of Commerce. It's about an $85,000 a year savings. I have no issue with the work that the Chamber's been doing, but as we talk about what the issue with Duke brought up, and the looming fund balance usage and things like that, over the next 4 years, that $85,000 is a big chunk of change. So I just want to make sure you're aware that that change has been included as far as the economic development.
All right. All right, looking at the county treasurer, Sean, your revenue's up 830,000. We know $500,000 of that is sales tax. What else?
$500,000 sales tax, and like I said, the other, another 200,000 is the revenue from the casino.
Right, okay. And we're finally budgeting. We got 144 this year, I think.
To date, we've got about 80, I believe.
Okay.
In,
All right.
in quarterly things.
Are we sure we're going to get to 220
200?
or 200?
No, I'm not sure.
I mean, it was supposed to escalate over time. It's a first full year of operation.
This was a number I went back and forth with, and this is what I, to try to get the budget where it had to be. I think we should be close. We should be able to come close. Like I said, in 2 quarters this year, we've gotten about 80,000.
All right. So, I mean, it seems reasonable. Okay. No, yeah. Yes,
All that up
legislator Hedlund.
to social services real quick.
Sure.
Maybe, probably a real quick answer. For the deputy commissioner and the principal social welfare examiner, you have 60,000 and 40,000, but it wasn't a departmental request, it was just put in.
What had happened was between the executive and the commissioner, they're doing a structural change. If you look in here, there's the elimination of 2 directors, and in its place is going to be a deputy commissioner. And then you will also see there's some, they're swapping some titles. They eliminated some titles and added new titles. So like I said, you will see some new positions in DSS, but you will see the elimination of some titles too.
And after some lengthy discussions with the commissioner, with some very strong priorities on my side and his side, we've come to a compromise related to the elimination of the 2 positions, the director position is replacing it with 1 deputy, and he asked for some other smaller items in his budget that I said we put the money for them in the budget, but any change in title, any change in position, any change in grade would have to go through a desk audit done by the personnel office before they take effect too. Because that's the only way I know for sure that it's it's appropriate. And you can either do that two ways, through negotiations or through a desk audit, and negotiations is not going to be the way. So neither of us are completely happy with our compromise, but I guess that's the nature of it sometimes. But the big one being the elimination of the two directors.
Legislator Headwell? Thank you. All right, so Sean, back to you. Appropriations up about 229. I mean, obviously leading to a positive, I don't want to use the word positive, but, the 601,000, less year over year is a good thing, but just interested to know what's in the 229.
The increase
Yeah,
in appropriations,
yeah,
because you increased sales tax 500,000 in revenue, we have to increase the distribution of sales tax to municipalities by
okay, good.
213.
Yep, all right,
212.
so that's all of it, okay. All right, any other questions for the county treasurer for his budget? Hearing none, the second largest reduction is the county legislature in auditing cost center number 30 hours, and we've been over that quite a bit ourselves. We know that we cut out 508,000, almost 509,000, and transferred them over to the county executive, so I don't think we need much explanation on that. We've lived it ourselves. Mental health, the third largest net reduction at $142,000 is the result of the consolidation.
Yep, and also, just so you know, we did include a revenue for that state match through the shared services panel.
Okay,
That will qualify for the one-time match. It should be just shy of $100,000.
okay. So that's good news there, and it's part of our effort to try and consolidate services, so a good reflection there. The next largest net reduction, Public Works. When you add together the $60,224 that you see on the general Public Works line to the county road fund and the road machinery fund, where there will be larger reductions, it comes to a net reduction of about $98,000, $99,000. Just looking for some explanation on that, Sean.
One of the things you're going to see, because especially particularly the D and the county road machinery, is over the years, like I said, they build a little bit of a fund balance in those funds, where
Yep.
those funds really should be carrying a large fund balance. So $200,000 of fund balance, we appropriated 100 in each of those funds. Where last year, only 75,000 was appropriated in the DM fund. So
Okay.
it's using some of the fund balance that's got built up. And just, just for reference, it is included in one of the schedules. They both had about a little over 350,000 in fund balance. Those two funds at the beginning of the year.
Of 17?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
So, by using 100, that gives us some leveraging going forward.
Okay. Any other questions? Fifth largest decrease, emergency management and fire service at $85,358.
Last year we bought a vehicle, this year there's no.
That's your difference.
That's the biggest, not the biggest.
Okay.
Because last year the vehicle was budgeted.
This year we don't need it. Okay.
For this year.
And then economic development, I also wrote down, it's the sixth largest decrease at 51,000, but you just explained that situation a few minutes ago. One question, Sean, I had for you in your budget. You know, we all focus on things that are near and dear to us. I have a history and a lineage with the college, and I noticed that the college appropriation wasn't increased in the budget, and I do know that they're going to be coming back to us for, as stated by Dusty, because they haven't asked us for money in 3 years.
One more year.
One more? You're sure of that? I thought 18. I thought he said
I can
18.
only go by what like I said, I wasn't made aware that he's asked for an increase. so that's
His
why.
budget will be coming to us in the summer of 18.
For that one, okay, okay. All right, great, thank you. Appreciate that clarity. All right, so any other department that anybody else would like to talk about the change here? I mean, keeping in mind, you know, we looked at the big things, keeping in mind the net increase is half of 1% at that 606, 456 when you aggregate all the changes here throughout all of our departments. Any other questions? All right, I think another thing we need to get in order before we leave this sheet is who we'd like to have come back to talk to us on, I believe, Chairman Diamond, would you like to break into song here a little bit and let us know what your intentions are on our meeting schedule? I think Chairman Diamond is looking to slightly alter this meeting schedule that you all have had multiple copies handed and emailed to you. If you don't have one handy right now, Monday, September 25th is supposed to be the public hearing to be held at 6 o'clock. And then we originally had slated Tuesday, September 26th is our full board meeting. We originally indicated that we were going to have people come to present to us before that meeting, but I think Chairman Diamond has some other proposals for us. Chairman?
Thank you, Mike. So what I'd like to see, first of all, you know, we can decide today, you know, vote it up or down on departments we want to review. Obviously, I think Chairman Peck has outlined probably before. On the Monday, September 25th meeting, where we'll have the public hearing, that night, I would also like to do the departmental review that night after the public hearing. In addition, Cheryl handled out the budget workshop sheets, which for the new ledge. These are sheets that you would fill out if you want to increase or decrease any specific line item. And they would need to be submitted to Cheryl. I would say probably the 20th, Cheryl. Would that work for you? Because she would compile she would put all these together for our individual requests, and then into a sheet where we have formulas that is going to give you a net cost or a decrease of any. Would that be enough time, or?
Well, I am off on the 21st and 22nd, so if I need to put it together, maybe by the 19th, and then I can get it to you guys on the 20th.
All right, so if you...
Get it back to you, because you're going to want, once I compile it, you're going to want to see it, and I'll have to email it out on the 20th.
So do we have a meeting the 19th?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so if everyone bring their sheet in to Cheryl for the 19th, for
The 19th, yeah.
our committee, that's our full board meeting.
No,
it's a
it's
committee.
Committee meeting. So if everyone will bring their sheet in to Cheryl, and then she'll put them all together and come up with one document for us, which, again, that night, Monday, September 25th, we'll have a vote up or down on each individual request.
Chairman,
Yes.
if you are going to take action potentially as like either a resolution or separate resolutions for voting up or down, it would have to be in a form of resolutions and a special meeting.
Okay. Which,
So you could potentially, all right, so we have to have the public hearing on the 25th at 6 o'clock.
Right.
You want to review with the departments that night
Yes.
as well?
yes. Then we could have the
You could
special
do a
meeting.
special meeting prior to the full board meeting on the 6th.
Well, I was thinking we could have the special meeting prior to our Tuesday, October 3rd meeting. where we would have the resolution, and then on Tuesday, October 3rd also,
Yes,
we would...
I'm sorry, yes, then you,
Yeah.
then you can have the work, you can just do straw vote or whatever to know what you're going to have for
Well, I think
action.
what I'd like to do is have the straw vote on the 25th, and then have the resolution ready for the October 3rd meeting.
Okay,
So that would be prior to the budget vote. So we'll vote on the budget October 3rd.
Legislator Kelly?
And for the budget and finance report or recommendation report that has to be in, are we just going to do what we did last year? Wasn't there just a cover letter that we did?
Yeah, we're
I
gonna,
gave you a copy of that.
no, I don't have it yet. You never gave, oh,
Put it on your desk.
oh, this one?
I just
Oh, you were gonna send it to me in Word and I was gonna
don't want to
monkey with
hear
it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that we're not following.
Yeah.
the trend.
Okay. Yeah, send it to me in Word too. We'll talk about it. I'll get you something. All right, everybody all right with these? So well, let's just do a little review. On the 25th, we're gonna have our public hearing and then departmental visitations.
Right.
The 26th, we'll have our full board meeting. Where will the straw vote occur?
Straw vote on the 25th with the sheets being submitted by the 19th.
Okay. So, and then will that straw vote be after the budget presentations? On the 25th?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so it'll go public hearing, and then department presentations, and then straw vote.
Yes.
So just for the new legislators, I will get everything that you guys send me. There may be multiple of the same line.
Right, right.
So I'll put that as one line, but over on the end, it'll see like Sweet, Diamond, Kelly. Like the three of you are requesting that.
Yeah, okay.
So that there's not like multiple.
Duplications, yeah.
Okay.
Can I make a request from the clerk? Could you put these dates in a calendar format? Would you mind? That would make it simpler to digest rather than...
Everybody doesn't carry the sheet around like the King James Bible, huh? Like I do. Cursed by numbers.
And I thought I wasn't going to be here on the week of the 18th. I'm not going to be here the week, that week, the
26th.
The week of the 25th.
Perfect.
I will be on the other side of the country.
Can you send that your sheet?
I will,
Okay.
by the
Okay.
19th.
Oh, I would.
Yep.
Oh, I would.
I will.
So which departments, now that we have that, would we like to call to see us on the 25th? My recommendation would be personnel, sheriff, social services, and, did we have a fourth?
DPW.
And DPW. Those sound like the ones we're talking to? Okay. And we'll do them in dollar number order. So we'll go personnel, and then sheriff, and then social DSS, and then DPW. Okay.
Well, what time would you request?
Their presence?
Here, yeah.
Oh, how long do we think, based on experience, a public hearing will take? Not
2 minutes.
Yeah.
Never really had anyone ever show up.
Okay, so 10 after? Just a little
There's
breather.
a link there.
Is that too late? 10
No,
after?
that's.
Okay, 10 after.
I'll probably do the agenda for 6:05.
Okay, that's fine. And actually, I had one other question that escaped me as it pertained to the budget. I wanted to bring up was, what are we doing about youth days at the Fonda Fair? And,
They are supposed to be getting you a letter by Monday.
asking for the money for next year?
I just want to make you aware that that money is not part of this budget at this time.
And if we were to recommend putting it into the budget
That's your sheet.
on the grid, the department we should really think about it is youth, ATI, veterans, if we wanted to add it to that?
Academic development is where we did it this year.
Well, we took it out of the bed tax, right?
Yeah.
That's why we did it. But if it's gonna be its own line item, Youth Day at the fair, and listed in somebody's budget at 10 or 15,000, where would we recommend it? In youth? Sean?
Wherever you feel like you want to put it.
All right.
Well, we begin the money from, what line item is the money in that we're getting it from? In other words, if we take from the bed tax, where's the bed tax money?
It's in ours.
That's in, well, it'll be in the executives next year. Or no, it'll be economic development next year.
So then are we,
The bed tax money in tourism is being moved to economic development for 18.
Okay.
We proposed to move there.
yeah.
Didn't we have that in ours?
Do we have that?
We had
This year.
No, but the last budget we looked at and handed to you had 92,000 and 55,000.
Correct. It got moved to the executive, or, that was what Matt had mentioned, of moving tourism under economic development and taking it away from the chamber. So it would fall under the economic development department now.
So I think should add it in there. Then, I mean, it's not going to be an addition to the budget, it'll be subtraction from bed tax and increase to that line.
How much money is left in the reserves?
That's not calculated until at the end of the year. It's based on the actual receipts or bed tax monies received.
Which would only be
All the
whatever the
expenses
chamber,
Huh?
as of right now, forecasting. It's only what the chamber.
It was, but
Well, there's two pieces.
it obviously got moved between the time we handed it into them and the time we met them.
And there's the administration.
We said we want to
Did
have.
they use all the contractual
Yes.
amount? How much?
But I think,
Well,
We said we want to have.
well, that's it was down to five.
We can take a look at it, and there's a resolution for urban achievement.
since we have you both here, what was your philosophy and the impetus behind moving the bed tax and, the county contribution to tourism? It's just because we're moving the TPA from,
You're moving the TPA and it's now going to be under the offices of, run by.
economic development.
It makes the most sense to have the budget in their budget.
Okay. That's one thing. Everybody, how does everybody feel about
They're
that?
no longer contracting with outside agencies for
Right.
the service.
So they're not providing anything?
No.
So rather than paying the chamber to provide that service can be done in-house and offset the salaries and economic development.
So it's purely a function of the fact that it's no longer a contractual arrangement with somebody. That was the understanding when we handed our 2018 budget to you, because we're bringing it in-house, it's going with economic development. Does anybody want to talk about that more? Everybody all right with that?
I think, Mark, did you say it has to be through economic development committee?
Anyway, yeah.
According to the
Charter.
Yeah, okay. All right, I think the last thing, we've been here an hour and a half. Certainly our focus level changes as we meander through this type of detail, but the last thing I really wanted to talk about was this sheet. While we're here, the tentative county tax rate impact of this proposed budget. Now, when you look at this, you can see on the bottom of your budget comparison sheet that the net tax levy increase that will lead to this increase is $456. And by extrapolating that out through all the municipalities and showing the impact of that tax increase to all the municipalities, you have the information in front of you here. So you can see in general that overall we're operating within the constraints of the allowable tax cap at 2.44%, and that is 2.44% is your 683,456, and spreading that 683,456 among the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 municipalities, you can see the impact it's going to have potentially on their tax rates. Obviously, all of it is a function of assessed value and whether you're full value assessed or not. And I think if you go down the ledger and you take a look, and you look at, just on average, a $100,000 house, City of Amsterdam, that's 100,000s, there's 100,000s and 100,000 times 0.4, you're looking at $40 increase, right? Am I doing that right? For people in Amsterdam.
For a $100,000 house.
For a $100,000 house. Yep, $40.
Would you be so kind to do that for the town of Amsterdam?
Well, you happen to be legislator of one of the kingdoms in the county here. Where the value of the real estate
You're going to have to hand out a lot of proclamations.
is I don't know, the rest of us are feeling pretty good about this. When you look down the line, knowing that Amsterdam it would impact people $40, the tune of $40. Obviously, in Canjo, it'd be $31. Charleston, $31. The town of Florida, it'd be $114. It's going to be a decrease in the Glen, $31 in Minden, $133 in Mohawk. This is on a $100,000 house, obviously. In Palatine, you're going to have a reduction. In Root, $31. St. Johnsville, you're going to have a reduction.
So what was the extrapolation for the town of Amsterdam?
Well, the extrapolation for the town of Amsterdam is $1,400.
That's it.
So, that's a big number compared to the other municipalities. A huge number compared to the other
This is where we make the pitch for countywide assessment.
It's got more to do with the value of the real estate than it does with the increase. Because the increase, as I talked to Sean, I didn't come up with this on my own. Sean explained it to me is that the equalization rates have changed in the town of Anderson because the values of property have increased in the town of Anderson.
Yes.
So maybe those big malls and
It's okay to try to in layman's term. The state sets equalization rates for each town based on a sampling of sales in a particular year. And if they see that the sales are selling higher than what the assessments are, they will adjust the equalization rates accordingly. And that's why year over year you'll see some fluctuation in equalization rates. And And that's why you're seeing a wide range of rate changes. For example, it just happens that this year in the towns of Amsterdam and Mohawk, their equalization rates were reduced, meaning that their full values increased, and giving them a larger portion of the levy to fund. So that's why you're seeing increases in those larger tax increases in those municipalities, as opposed to Glen, Palatine, and St. Johnsville. They actually saw their equalization rates increased, meaning that their assessed values are actually a little bit higher than what previous year. And that's why you're seeing actually a less of a percentage of the levy responsibility for those towns, resulting in a decrease.
Legislator Patel.
So a couple of questions. One, then, is the sales tax
Sales tax has nothing to do with the
won't
equalization rate.
increase because of the amount of value of real property in the town of Amsterdam, or their distribution?
Sales tax is based on the full value percentage, so again, they potentially would see an increase in sales tax.
So, for instance, we're coming to some closure on some pilot programs in the town of Florida. So the town of Florida, for instance, when Target comes off of, there's going to be a significant increase in property value in the town of Florida.
Correct.
So, double-edged sword, they will have a significant increase in the percentage of tax liability, but also a significant increase in the amount of sales tax.
Correct.
Do they offset each other in any ways? Not on a county level, but is there?
I don't know a dollar for dollar, I'm sorry, so to be honest with you. I don't know.
All right, any other subject matter anyone would like to discuss about the tentative budget? Hearing none, I want to thank all of you for making yourselves available this morning. Look forward to seeing you at the committee meetings on the 16th or the 19th, and certainly you need any budget changes you'd like to recommend. The deadline, Cheryl, again, is
19th.
the 19th. Meeting is adjourned at 11:40.
Thank you, guys.